Hello and welcome to another HanDrinksSolo wine info video. Now, if this is the first time you're watching one of my videos and you are a fan of wine science or of viticulture or of wine history, then why not subscribe to the HanDrinksSolo YouTube channel so that you can keep up to date with the 6 videos that I publish each month. Now, as for today's video, we are covering Blaauwklippen Zinfandel 2018, which is one of only 2 bottles of Zinfandel in the whole of South Africa, as far as I can tell. The other one, of course, being Idiom's Primitivo Zinfandel, because Primitivo and Zinfandel, as we've said elsewhere, are both the same grape with different names, and in fact both of them should technically be called Tribidrag. Tribidrag is a grape from Croatia, which for a while was referred to as Kurlanja Kastelanski, which for a while was thought to be the same as Plavatsmali. But as it turned out, Plavatsmali was in fact a child of Tribidrag after Tribidrag spent a night of passion in the vineyards with a grape called Dobricic. But for this next little section on the video, I need us to actually pour a glass of Blaauwklippen Zinfandel 2018 because in both color and aroma, it totally challenges everything that we thought to be true about the grape of Zinfandel. For the most part, we think of Zinfandel as being a big, rich, fruit-forward wine with a full mouthfeel and high alcohol, which it is for the most part. So when we have a look at a glass of this Blaauwklippen Zinfandel next to a textbook example of a Southern Italian Primitivo, we can see how very different it is with regards to its color. It's way lighter and clearer looking and leans more into kind of Grenache territory than it does into the sort of deep, inky, opaque blueberry soup territory that we expect a Primitivo or Zinfandel to be. And when we give this guy a sniff, we see that it really smells rather different to what we expected as well. For those of you who have already opened the Fiudo di San Gregorio Primitivo, you'll notice that it had a nose full of black plums and blackberry and blueberry jam and blackcurrant fruit pastels and even a little bit of licorice, whereas this is all about the red fruit. I mean, on the bouquet there's strawberry, there's cherry, there's raspberry candy, and then there's also lovely spicy elements as well, some resin, some cinnamon bark, and also some kind of herbal tea and eucalyptus elements. It really is a super engaging nose, I guess like the trunk of an elephant that moonlights as a motivational speaker. And when we sip it, it totally delivers on what the nose promises. More of that same juicy, light-footed red fruit with the amazing berry acidity and spice just working together so well. Another pleasant surprise, which will be a relief for those of you who were worried that this would turn out to be a tumbler of cherry juice, is that there are some really rather grippy tannins. The combination of these fine but grippy tannins along with the really pristine, quite bright berry acidity is that it totally frames the more generous, sweeter fruit that runs down the core. But Han,
why is it like that?
Well, Zinfandel as a cultivar is prone to ripening rather quickly, and so one has to keep a close eye on it to make sure that it doesn't get out of hand. A lot of the time, the big, rich, inky, high alcohol wines are either a result of careless viticulture or the fact that they were deliberately allowed to ripen on the vine almost to the point of raisinning. So when these grapes are harvested, a lot of the water has already left the grape, simply leaving color and sugar. And so when they are vinified, they're made essentially according to a similar process as a passamento that is used on Governo wines from Toscana or Amarone wines from Veneto. So really, when we think of Zinfandel as big and rich and inky and high alcohol and full mouthfeel, those characteristics say more about an ethos of viticulture or a creative wine style in California than they do necessarily say about Zinfandel as a cultivar. Fun fact on the side, the sale of white Zinfandel, which is essentially a rosé made from red Zinfandel, is up to 6 times more voluminous than the actual sale of the original red Zinfandel. But when we ignore winemaking style or viticultural practices and look at Zinfandel, we'll see that it's actually rather a large berry with very thin skins. It also happens to have relatively high natural acidity. So with this all in mind, we can now look at the Blaauwklippen Zinfandel and realize that it actually makes way more sense that it kind of does have a Grenache type color to it. So when we do a little more intellectual digging, we realize that winemaker Nerina Cluti has actually delivered what is essentially a far more honest expression of the Zinfandel grape rather than a peculiarity. Of course, then the wine is also matured in oak, and that's why there is a hint of those spice elements, but it's not overly so. It only spends about 12 months in 300-litre barrels, and so the end result is a fairly well-balanced interplay between the live red fruit and some oak spice that carries through. Okay, well, that's all we have time for today, but I'd love to hear your thoughts on this wine, so hop onto HanDrinksSolo.com and leave a review on the wine in the review section below. And if you're wanting to explore Zinfandel or Primitivo or Trevidrug as a cultivar a little bit more, why not watch the video I made on the Feudo di San Gregorio Primitivo di Manduria 2018, and you can learn a little bit more about the history of the grape. And as one final little bit of homework, perhaps track down Idiom's Primitivo Zinfandel and give that a go as well to give you a broader view on what Zinfandel can taste like in South Africa.